Hey everybody, David Essel here, part of our Slowing Down series. Of course, this is another story and it's about personal power. Out of our book, Slow Down, the Fastest Way to Get Everything You Want. I'll share more and more stories from the book and from clients I've worked with, and hopefully they'll be able to help you to move ahead in life and to find that life of peace and love and success that you desire and deserve. Personal power. Do you know that we give our power away on a daily basis over and over and over again if we're not conscious, if we're not living consciously? It can happen in so many ways. Some of the most common ways are, if there's if you're working with someone that has a big title after their name, if it's a doctor, an attorney, whatever it might be, a judge, is that we feel that, they are more than us, that they are smarter than we are, that they are, that they're more privileged than we are. And sometimes they are smarter, but they're human beings. And the minute we put them on a pedestal, like if we choose not to question our doctors, or if the doctor comes into the office and you're sitting there and you go, I need a little bit more time today. If they're rushing because they've got a lot of clients behind us and we let it go, we've just given our personal power away. If you're in a doctor's office and you haven't gotten all your questions answered and you allow the doctor to leave, without holding them or restraining them, of course, but, if you go, oh my gosh, I'm not as important, he or she is more important, I better not bother them, you've given your personal power away. In our book, I talk about how we give our power away to former partners. We do what other people tell us, and it doesn't feel right inside. I remember once working, and this is a really powerful example of giving our personal power away, of working with a young woman who had sexual intercourse with a guy, not because she wanted to, actually inside her heart and soul was saying no, 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 but because, he was egging her on and saying, oh, come on, if you love me, you do this, if you love me. And so she gave her personal power away. And then she came in the office as a client because she was really hurting. So we worked on helping her to retain her power. But I want to tell you a story that happened to me personally where I gave my power away. And it was when I was hosting a nationally syndicated radio talk show. And of course, we had on so many of the most amazing authors and athletes, celebrities, TV celebrities, movie stars, you name it, we had them on. It was always really a lot of fun. But there was a couple times I gave my power away, and one I'm going to tell you about. I just received a call from my producer saying we had booked this huge motivational speaker who had a brand new book out. It was selling millions of copies. It was a really big name. And of course, I was excited because I was a fan of this person and I knew all of my listeners would be, we had 250 cities, and I knew all of our listeners would just be like so jazzed and in listening to what this person had to say. And their book was on, like healing, personal growth, self-growth, that kind of stuff. So I was just really excited. Well, anyway, we do what we normally do, and the producer calls the guest about 5 minutes before they're going to be on the air. And they said to this author, David has never met you before. If you want to listen into his show so you get a feel of his energy before you come on as a guest, we would love that. And that's just protocol. We did that all the time, especially people I'd never talked to. Well, this guest was so irate with my producer and was screaming about the fact, don't you know this is a Sunday afternoon and I have better things to do than to be online, waiting for my interview. I have a favorite football game on right now. I'm interrupting my game in order to talk. And he just was really beating down on my producer. And so my producer was shaking and hung up the phone. Now, my producer was in Washington, D.C., and I was in my studios in Florida. And so my producer, we had a commercial break, and he comes on. I could tell that, he was really shaken, and I kept saying, what's wrong? What's wrong? He said, nothing. The guests will be on in a minute. We're all good. We're all good. We're all good. So, but I knew something was really wrong. So the guest came on, and we were supposed to have the guest on for a 45-minute show, I think. And so the guest came on, and we did the first segment. And then I went to break, and I said, hey, listen, you've really got to tell me the truth. And then he did. And he was shared with me how this guest berated him. I mean, just made him feel like nothing. And I was so shocked and so disappointed that I went through the second segment, and I was going, oh my gosh, but we can't cut this guy short. And we went to the next break. I said, you know what? I've given my power away to this author. I put this author on such a pedestal that even though that, this person mistreated my producer horrendously, I was still going through the interview, and I made a decision at that break. I said, you know what? I can't give my power away to someone who is mistreating someone who works with me that poorly. And I ended up cutting the interview short. And I said, you know what? Thank you so much for your time. We've got other topics to cover now. Have a great day. and we never had the guest back on. And I wouldn't have that person back on because of the fact that, respect is everything in life. And if we don't stand up for what is right, if we don't stand up for our own power, even though now the guest was really upset with me now because they had said, wait a minute, I blocked all this time out of the day, and now we're only doing a 15-minute or 20-minute interview instead of the 45-minute one. And I said, you know what, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but this isn't the direction we're going to go today. Thank you for your time. And, I had to make a decision at that point, and it was about personal power for my producer and personal power for myself. And now you. Who do you give your power away to? Do you laugh at jokes that are insensitive because you're in a group of people and you don't want to be left out? Are you part of a group where that you don't agree with what they do, but you want to be sort of kept in and you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of being left alone? Are you staying in a relationship that is abusive emotionally or physically, and you've given your personal power away? Are you in a work environment where that you're being put down constantly by a supervisor, and you give your power away by staying? Now, of course, there's ways to move through all this, and these are very short videos, but the most important thing for you to do is to question yourself. Where am I giving my power away, and how can I reclaim it? Now, I know and you know that the Spirit of God wants you to reclaim your personal power, that if you're loving yourself, if you are really loving yourself, you won't give your personal power away. So think about that today. And if I can help you move through any sticky situation in regards to personal power with relationships or career or your health, finances, whatever it might be, talkdavid.com. We have all kinds of YouTube videos, 200 and something blogs on all these topics about moving ahead in life. Okay, so talkdavid.com. I'd love to help you. Have the most amazing day. Stay powerful.